We've got an extremely special extra matchup coming your way today between two of North America's premier players. Of course, as always, Will Anderson here, but today an even better treat as I am joined by a man who needs little introduction in the Scrabble scene, and that is Stefan Fatsis.
Great to be with you, Will, for this awesome matchup that I'm very excited about.
These are really two players who are at the absolute peak of their games right now, obviously winning these major tournaments.
Josh, currently the top ranked player in North America in the North American Lexicon with a rating of 2072. Jackson currently fifth with a rating of 2054, giving us an opportunity to see the game presented in a different format, featuring two of the very best players in the world.
Both players obviously ready to rock. These two play at the absolute limit of what is possible in Scrabble. Whoa, looks like an interesting decision taking shape for Josh on his first move here.
You can see he's got the Q set up, IBLA for Kibla.
I feel like Josh is likely to make a play here very fast because he's thought about situations like this a lot. Using it here to score 50 points, that's an increase of 28 over just plopping your Q down. I think we're seeing a phony come down immediately by Jackson. This is a very ambitious phony. I'm not sure if I feel like Josh is very likely to challenge this, but here, look at Josh's expression.
That scrunchy face. He's got the scrunchy face. He's just like bitten into a lemon.
Yeah, the scrunchy face. His expression continues here.
This has to be a courtesy draw, meaning Josh is still thinking about whether to challenge. It looks like he's written the word down. He's probably also written down the letters in the word in alphabetical order to see if anything pops out. Yeah, he's thinking this one through.
I have to assume. So the reason that he's taking time here, my feeling is he is almost certain that this is not a word, but the letters that he has visioned available as a huge play through this eye. And I think he just wants to make absolutely sure, if I'm going to challenge this word, it needs to be not good, because losing out on a 98-point counterplay, and he has ultimately decided that he just can't place this word in the dictionary or in his memory in any way. And as we go to the challenge cam, we're going to get that answer, Stefan.
And it is not good.
There you go. Once Josh gets 98 points here, he's out to an enormous lead in the early going, and a shutout, in fact. And now wifed is the play from Jackson, probably the type of aggressive opening he needs at this deficit. Meter.
Josh chose to get rid of his only vowel here, Will. He had 6 consonants, including double T's and double R's. Quackle, our computer analysis bot, favored keeping the E and playing trim for 9, 10, 11, 12 points instead of what Josh played, meter, for 18. What do you think?
I like the choice of meter here. Excuse me. It's not so much of a... So the idea of trim here is it would have undoubled all of Josh's consonants and left him an extremely powerful leave. But I don't think there was any reason for Josh to risk leaving this W open. The W is not a good bingo tile by any means, but at this score, leaving it open was easily the biggest way that Jackson could have drawn the second blank and played a massive play across 2 triples. So the thing I like about meter, it doesn't do that much worse on the scoreboard and leave value front, but it does block that W. So I did like that play, and you can see the two players with competing goals here. Jackson opening the board with wifed, Josh shutting it down with meter. Jackson opening the board with befoul, which looks like a very nice play through EF on the board, and Josh closing it down. So the cat and mouse game proceeding in this way going forward, I assume, for most of the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think from Jackson's perspective, it's work through my bad racks, hope that Josh is drawing poorly, get down that first bingo to cut the deficit to something more manageable. And we can see here, Will, looks like Jackson's choice of give. He could have played Vig and kept the incredibly potent EI PRT leave, but what does give do? It creates a lane alongside the E for Jackson to bingo. He's sacrificing one great tile, the E, that will be useful for him going forward to create a new lane. It's not just the bingo threat for Jackson. Score, 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 bingo. Try to get this into a range where he can come back.
Totally agree. So yeah, you can see.
There you go.
This is the exact, and this is not that bad of an outcome for Jackson. He has to be thrilled to see Josh forced to take only a 14-point play here. Those are the sorts of plays that you need from your opponent if you're going to mount a comeback in this game.
The Y is his bête noire right now. He needs to shed that for sure. And if he does, that leave is unbelievably strong, AEI PRT.
Yeah, the issue with really going super hard, like, yes, you could dump the Y here for a solid number of points right now. The problem is the board is already very not conducive for bingos right now. And you know that Josh is going to get a turn to make it even worse. So I do think a play of this type, I was wondering if we would see, well, I just unintentionally said a pun, a play of this type. Yes, but actually, I was thinking maybe also a play like Yttria would be warranted as well here, just extending a little bit further. Yes, you take yourself a little bit further away from a good bingo rack, but look at that. Jackson has drawn drastic. Is Josh going to be able to prevent Jackson from getting this bingo down? Plays right here at the moment. Josh is surely going to be trying to stop that from happening.
Ooh.
Wow. His rack just makes that not really possible. All those consonants again, Stefan.
Yep.
But what I'm curious about is, why has Jackson not played yet? It feels like if he sees the word drastic on his rack, I don't know why it wouldn't be played, Stefan. This is kind of a weird delay, in my opinion. Yeah, I feel like it's a very clear choice. Drastic right here, placing the S here and the C on the double letter gets you a whole boatload of points. 86 for him here. It seems... Okay, there we go. He has spotted it. Okay, that was going to be a shocker. Again, it's these players, even these players are human beings, and mistakes can happen in Scrabble. There are certain situations where you might find the right play 99 times out of 100. Absolutely imperative that Jackson find that bingo, and he does.
It's also simply possible that it's 9:30 in the morning. It's 10 o'clock now. This is day 4 of Scrabble for both of these players. You know, you get tired.
Yeah, that's true. Fatigue, always a factor. But Jackson's drawn the second blank, and he has bingos possible now through the D and R of drastic.
Let me see if I find the Y. I see 1 to the D without looking. Befogged.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be anything super much better than plays into this D. I guess defogger is also a word through that R. It's just this C, at least for the short term, it puts a stop to anything going on this side of the board. Any play down to the triple through that C is going to reopen a lot of space again, though. So I do think the C is only a temporary closure to the lower right. And here comes that bingo.
Here it comes. No hesitancy, immediately saw it. On the other hand, I immediately saw it too. So how good a bingo could it be?
It is just defogged or befogged, and it actually is a kind of interesting choice which blank, which tile this blank is. If it's a B, that makes it a little more difficult to parallel across. It would just be the A going down in that spot. If it's a D, now you've given Josh a whole other new threat to worry about. If I'm Jackson, I'm wondering, boy, the score after Taj is so close, I might consider making it a B just so I don't get hammered, even though I'm still trailing on the scoreboard. But look at Josh's rack there, Stefan. Wow.
Yes. Regardless of what he designates the blank, and I hope we can see that in a second, here comes a bingo because Josh has the most fruitful rack in Scrabble.
Yeah, this is it. Retinas. I just made a YouTube video about Nigel Richards playing a phony with this rack. There you go. Okay, you see, it's the B. So befogged. I think that makes sense, Stefan, just because Jackson was actually getting pretty close on the scoreboard after that second bingo. He didn't want to make it too easy for Josh to overlap, but with that rack, nothing's stopping it.
You know, if you are Jackson, you know, if I'm Jackson in this position and I've just back-to-back bingo to get back to basically tie the game, and then you see Retina's rack come down for 88, it's a little bit of a gut punch, but it's also just the way the tiles fall. And you should, in a perfect world, not be upset that your opponent managed to do that after you clawed your way back into the game. And that was a pun too, Will.
Very nice. And in your case, clearly intentional, unlike mine, which was sort of by accident, and I only realized it after it came out of my mouth. We're going to see. Oh, wow. What an interesting play by
very
Josh
interesting
here. Uri setting up his two H's, probably in recognition of the fact that there's really no way Jackson can do much with that spot. That's tremendous. Look at that, Stefan. None of the danger tiles for that E unseen to Josh.
And really, is there a way for Jackson to even address that? He's looking at the tile pool too, Will, and he has to suspect that this is a setup.
Yeah, I think he either, so we've just updated the remaining tiles from Jackson's POV. I guess this is a play that you could see Josh making, holding two of these many vowels. Look at that, 14 vowels and 7 consonants. It could be that, but certainly he has to honor the fact that this could have, at least one H. Not, I don't know if he can. Maybe he could guess at that level. That would really be incredible. I don't put anything past these players. If he's able to put that sort of incredibly specific poker-like soul read on Josh to know he has both H's. But I do think it's equally likely that he's struggling with that vowel overload. That, in fact, that makes Josh's play even better, getting rid of all of his vowels, leaving just the two H's, knowing that his rack is likely to fill up with vowels as it has. Look at Josh's rack there, Stefan.
Yeah, it is not good. And on the flip side, Jackson has the opposite problem. He has an abundance of the few remaining consonants in the game.
I gotta say, I am impressed with Jackson, though, Stefan. I didn't feel like after the first couple moves of this game that he was ever going to get back and make it interesting. But really, we should never count out either of these two players.
No. And he's going to continue. He must be looking at the tile pool and feeling like this is not, I'm not optimistic. So he neutralizes the H spot. So maybe he was indeed thinking that Josh likely had a way to come down from the E in Uri with his H on the triple letter score, reaching the double word score, which would have put the game out of reach if there even was hope. And RZN, in the right circumstances, not terrible.
Also got to point out, Uncle leaving the N in reserve.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a sneaky way for Jackson to make a possible bingo lane on the board where maybe Josh wasn't expecting one to exist.
What Jackson did there, he takes out that potential game-ending hook of an H onto the E coming down. And he creates 1, 2, 3, 4 potential bingo lanes where really one existed before.
Yeah. So Josh, anyway, playing here, it seems like Jackson is literally one tile away from something like zirconia through this C. So I just wonder, if maybe a play through that C is going to do a little bit better for Josh. So, but this is a very cool idea.
I like this idea too.
Yeah, maybe you can draw something miraculous. I'm sure you guys out there in the chat can find something that that Jackson has a chance to draw after this play, and this creates a very annoying situation. Oof, yeah, that's a pretty good draw. But from Josh's POV, you've now got two threats that, while unlikely, are both pretty dangerous.
And he does have something through the C, correct? Sarcenet, is that right?
Absolutely. He will. So Jackson is threatening a playable bingo through the C. I don't think that bingo is still going to score enough to really worry Josh. So I think from Josh's POV, yes, he would like to block the C, but the top priority is to assess which of these is more threatening. I think it's possible that he will have the strategic sort of, I don't know if it's strategy or word recognition, to know that in this pool, there may actually not be any bingos from this Z. He may have that high level ability to look into a set of 11 tiles, add a Z to it, and say, is there anything? And be able to say no and confidently not block. And it seems like he's done that. He could have played HOO in this spot, which would have more effectively blocked, but there may not have been any need for him to do that if there actually are no threats facing him here.
I don't think there was any chance that Josh was going to empty the bag there. He is doing the math right now and determining that you're looking basically to not lose the game, right? You don't want to do the one thing that could lose the game for you. And in this case, the one thing that could have wound up in a loss for Josh would have been drawing the X, emptying the bag, allowing a 74-point bingo, and giving up 8 plus 6, 14, or plus the P would be even more. It would have been 30-something points and losing that way.
But Josh has one absolutely astounding play here, Stefan. I don't know if he's seen it. He only has a minute on his clock. The 20-minute clock's ringing their head here, but damn, would you see this play? It looks like Josh may be missing it here.
Yeah, I would not see this play. I've seen the word, but I would not see this play.
That's a tough one. The play in question, Zaptia, right here. I might be butchering that pronunciation, but this would be a 72-point play for Josh.
Wait, didn't Josh have an O though? Hold on. Didn't he have an O? Oh,
yeah,
no.
His final tile, he could have played that word with an O left over.
The O left over, yes.
Yeah. So again, totally academic, doesn't change the outcome of the game. Would have been a fun, stylish play to see go down, but with his clock ticking low, no need to. Poet certainly gets the job done. The nice thing about Poet, it uses up this triple and prevents Jackson from doing the same with his X. Yeah. So it seems like a good rationale if you miss the unbelievable Zaptia here.
That would have been gorgeous.
I think if Josh had to find that play to win this game, I like his chances of doing that. I think in some ways it was the game situation that allowed him to take his foot off the gas and not find that. It was totally irrelevant to the outcome. And there we have it. Game one in the books. And I believe after that flurry of moves at the end that Josh is going to win by just about 195 points, 451 to 356.